Moshe Turpaz, a member of parliament for the opposition Yesh Atid party. Moshe, thanks for joining us. The government, the coalition, says they've made a compromise. And now it's time for the opposition to make a compromise. What's your reaction?
My reaction is you don't compromise with yourself. I mean, you can't negotiate only on one side and then we said, I compromised. The Likud has run all the way for the last 2.5 months with its own, talking with itself and not making any compromises. Now they're saying they took some little percent out of the agreement, but we don't see that. We see it totally different. And we said from the first moment, let's stop the legislation, let's go to the president, let's speak there, let's bring in both sides, and then we can compromise. But negotiating with yourself and compromising with yourself is a negotiation. We don't see any real change, and therefore we will continue fighting this huge change in democracy, this revolution in democracy, which is something which is bad for Israel, bad for democracy, bad for economics. We can't compromise like that.
But Moshe, this coalition says they're going to bring this law into the Knesset, maybe for even a final vote for Passover. What strategy does the opposition, does your party have to stop it?
Look, we have three forces playing our side. One is the democratic one here in Knesset, and we'll do our best to fight it in democratic ways. Then we go, if they go on with it, we'll take it to court and we'll tell court this law isn't, we can't able to pass the laws, and we want you to overcome them. And then we have the streets. We have hundreds of thousands of people that are willing to go out and fight for democracy. I was in Yavne, which isn't a Yesh Atid center, just this last Motzei Shabbat, week before in Be'er Sheva. We see millions of Israelis that are saying, some of us voted left, some right, but all of us want a democratic Israel. And if this legislation goes on one side, this is not Israel as we dreamt for, and we don't want the government to go on. Even those who voted for it. I mean, I live in Gush Etzion. Many of my neighbors are protesting every Motzei Shabbat in Efrat. So they're saying it's not an issue of right or left. It's an issue of democratic values, and we're not with the government even if we voted for it.
And Moshe, among those protesters are IDF reservists who are saying, some of them not showing up for their voluntary reserve duty. What's your reaction to that, who say that endangers the country's security?
So I met some of them this Motzei Shabbat actually, and as a lieutenant colonel in the reserve, I serve myself in the reserves, and I think every soldier should do his best to serve the country, even if he's given commands that he's not agreeing with. And yet, I think the responsibility at this stage is on Prime Minister Netanyahu, is on the government, because they are pushing all of us to the corner, and that's something not to be done, even if it's legal. So I'm against not serving in Miluim. I'm against those people that are saying that are using this weapon, and yet the responsibility is on Bibi Netanyahu, is on government, is on Levin and Rothman. The little minor changes they have done here will not stop the protests, because people are protesting for the democracy. They're fighting for Israel's future, and therefore they will go on.